Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Double XP with Logan and Danny. I'm Danny Flores, and I'm here with my mate, Logan Miles.
I'm finally 30.
You did it. You finally made it.
I'm so happy.
Join the club.
Yeah.
Everything hurts.
So, yeah. I went to bed at 9 p.m. last night.
Yeah. Dude, once you turn 30, it's like...
It's over.
That is the age where sleeping becomes a hazard.
No more first-person shooters. Now we're going to just play slow, turn-based strategy games.
Good tactics game.
That's all I can deal with right now.
Yeah. Put on my reading glasses. I got a tactics game to play.
So, the news of this week. On the last two podcasts, we've kind of had a reoccurring theme about some things. And the big thing has been we're both PC gamers, and we're really big on the remasters. And not the remasters. I misspoke a little bit. We're really big on when games that are exclusives for PlayStation or Xbox that they eventually do come to PC.
Yeah,
man, I am
definitely
really screwing this up. But basically, Flight Simulator is coming back to PC. Were you a big Flight Simulator
Hell
guy?
no, that shit's boring as hell.
That was a big 30-plus game, so I am looking forward to the next iteration of Flight Simulator.
You got your digital joystick, and then you even got your gas mask on or whatever, that oxygen mask.
I'm like so serious about it.
This is Stealth Bomber.
Like
this is Stealth Bomber. I don't play inverted. Imagine that, playing a Flight Simulator in default. Push up and it goes up.
This is just like in a plane, like on the keyboard. Like I don't know. I know some guys that really spend a lot of money into kind of decking out their PC rig. They get the big gamer chair, the big back on it. They're all souped up, ready to roll.
It's got LEDs around it.
Oh yeah, I'm just like a pilot. I'm like, man, if you spend that much money on your chair and stuff, I feel like you could just get a pilot's license.
Yeah, just go out, experience the world.
But the news is, okay, so the last Flight Simulator was 2006.
Holy.
That was a long time ago. That was the engines, graphic engines were, that's ancient. So basically, there's a new one that's been announced for PC and Xbox One in 2020. And the reason why I want to touch on this is not because of the Flight Simulator issue, but because in this article it talks about how there was a restructuring at Microsoft in 2014, and no, not 2014, in 2018. And so Phil Spencer, Jesus Christ,
everything is just going wrong in this, man. Philly Balilly.
Yeah, I fucking butchered Phil's
Baloney
name.
Bill said.
Phil Sprickensprack. So Phil Spencer is the head of Xbox, and he's been that since 2014. In 2018, there was a restructuring to where now he reports directly to the CEO. This means that Microsoft is looking to expand and devote more resources to the PC gaming market.
Ooh,
this makes
that.
sense when you look at how video games are bigger than music and movies combined.
Whoa.
Video games are gigantic. It's over $100 billion a year industry. And that includes mobile games, which is a huge chunk of money.
Oh, that's just
and so it's like a lot of companies are starting to see that Microsoft in particular is starting to see that maybe PC is kind of or not just PC but gaming in general is going to be the biggest thing in the future. It's already the biggest medium. So I think that in our frustration about games not coming to PC, I feel like this could be a good thing in the long run, that there is a more emphasis put on gaming. I don't know. Microsoft could just say, hey, you know what, just put it to Xbox and screw PC gamers again. I don't know. But I read this article, and I wasn't really a Flight Simulator guy, but I was pretty happy with just the kind of a restructuring that Microsoft is going under. But the actual Flight Simulator game, if you've seen they have a demo for it as a preview, and this is like a 33-minute video, so we're not going to go over this whole thing. I don't know what this is. Oh, this is a nice advertisement. Speaking of, if you're a brand and you want to advertise on Double XP.
Whoa, that's Subway.
That has to be the coolest Subway.
They got sliders now? All right,
Okay.
I gotta go.
I had to skip that quick. I don't need that. But anyway, so the cool thing about this new flight simulator is that it actually incorporates a lot of Bing map data into it, and the graphic engine is
that's
like,
insane.
It includes traffic. And so, yeah, this might be something. Oh man, you know what? I would love to crash a plane into my neighbor's house. I think that would be fun. Like like there are these people down the street in the alleyway that are really, really loud. And I'm like, you know what? Take a 740. You know what? Actually, I'm going down the pathway. I don't want to go now. You know what? Yeah.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it hasn't been 20 years. It's been 30 years.
No, it's been
40 years.
It's not. It's been. But yeah, you know what? I need to just focus on maybe meditation. You know, if I don't like my neighbors, I should actually. I should bake them cookies and offer a truce.
Offer them this beautiful footage of this.
I'm like, okay, so this is a 30-minute preview. It's like, who's gonna really watch this full thing? But like, one thing has to be said: the graphics in this are pretty awesome. You know, this is pre-alpha footage. So, but
it's pre-alpha.
Yeah.
Pro-alpha footage. Is that what we got going here?
So no, but they also have a lot of weather effects. I'm not sure if I can find any weather effects in this. This is a 30-minute, but like some of the clouds, you can see some of the volumetric clouds and stuff like that.
Hey, who's vaping? Who's vaping?
Everybody is in LA County.
Wow, yeah, that's realistic. Good graphics.
But yeah, so that's a game I'm gonna, look on, just keep an eye out for. But speaking of another game to get into, I don't know. I just have a number of games I kind of want to touch on that I've seen this week.
Yeah, let's touch them. Let's touch the games.
But on another note, I've learned that there's a term for people like me. It's called patient gamers.
Patient gamers? What's that mean?
This is people who don't really play things as soon as they come out. Maybe. I can't think of a riff on that. I'm sorry. My brain's broken right now. But
you just lost your place.
I totally
dude.
lost
my.
You're
like.
So patient gamers. I was like, what am I talking about? So patient gamers, people who don't normally play games that are up to to speed on everything. Like for example, I just started playing The Witcher 3 a couple months ago, and that game came out in 2015.
No
16?
idea.
I don't know. Old game though. But still a fantastic game. There's a couple other games like Plague Tale, Innocence, which is a game I want to talk about a little later.
Ooh.
That game came out in May, and I just finally finished it.
Man, that's not bad though. That's not bad.
I have a full-time job, so I don't have the ability of putting in 10 or 15 hours in gaming a week. I can only put in a couple hours and maybe an hour a night. So sometimes, if there's a game that's really, really good, it might take me a couple months to get into that.
Yeah.
That having been said, a lot of games that I've been getting into recently are these like small one-off indie kind of games. And there's a game I want to touch on, and this could be something that we look into doing a Let's Play together.
Okay.
And the game is called Hypercharge. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I have not actually.
So,
but I'm interested.
Yeah. So it's you ever played Counter-Strike?
Yeah.
So Counter-Strike, you ever remember those levels that we would play where it would kind of would pretend that you were a small figure in a house, or
no.
You never played any of those levels where you kind of you were in the kitchen and you were like 6 inches tall running around on a table?
In Counter-Strike?
So there was these old levels in Counter-Strike, and maybe not just Counter-Strike, but also like Raging Shield,
modded map,
where it was like a modded map where you could you would start and you'd be like on a kitchen counter, and it would essentially be what were those old games that we used to play, like Army Men.
Yeah.
Sarge's Heroes. I think
oh yeah, Sarge's Heroes. You played that?
I remember that. But they had Counter-Strike maps that were built in a way to where you're walking around on the ground in the kitchen, and the kitchen's humongous, and you felt like
an army toy.
Yeah, you felt like an army toy, and they were great maps. This game is kind of like that same. We don't have a Jamie here, so I have to type everything manually.
Game.
So Hypercharge is a game that is an indie. Actually, I should get rid of this. There we go.
Just got.
Boom. So Hypercharge Unboxed is an indie game. It's an early access game. Came out June 21st, 2017. And if you look at some of this footage, you know, it's a 4-player co-op. Now, it used to be PvE, where you could only play against the AI, but they just updated the game to where now it's PvP. And the reason why I'm immediately like intrigued by it is when you scroll down, it's only $13.
Ooh.
So,
are you trying to play this?
Well, not right now, but you know, like right now, look at the reviews. Pretty positive. 90% of the game reviews are positive.
It looked cool. I mean, I liked it.
It's still indie, so there's got to be some, you know, some of the recommended 14 hours here, 14 hours, 19 hours, blah, blah, blah. You know, seems like a good game to take a chance on if you were a guy that liked playing Sarge's Heroes or
Sarge's Heroes was dope.
Some of those old,
it was a good third-person game.
I mean, I remember that on N64. I forget. I thought they had one.
I played it on PS1
before it was Sarge. I think they named it something else, like Army Men Corps or something like that. Yeah. But it was a really, really enjoyable because it was just fun.
Yeah, that's what it's called. It was Army Men, and then it was Army Men Sarge's Heroes.
Yeah.
Right, like that's the.
But yeah. Anyway, this is gonna be something we could just mention. And then
they even got my
later
keyboard on
play it, you know, I don't know. I mean, the one thing that really intrigues me is that when you look at the grass textures,
you think you can actually like lay down and hide in it?
You know, like I don't know, man. When we were playing Counter-Strike, a lot of the engine was I forget if this was 1.6 or if this was Source, but this was pretty like the maps. Like I immediately looking at this map right here and just some like this right here there's already more assets on this map than some of the maps that I would play when I was at Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
So immediately this is interesting me.
It's like it's a first-person shooter Toy Story essentially.
Yeah. Essentially. You know, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be playing Toy Story kind of esque games for the rest of my life, maybe. So, moving on. Another one. I keep talking about remakes, but I'm just seeing so many remakes everywhere. There's a GoldenEye 007 remake.
Oh, yeah,
so
I heard about that.
So there are these guys who want to get involved with video games, and what they do is they end up starting to they want to just create a mod and like the Red Dead Redemption remaster, and then the guy gets served a cease and desist. Right. Well, here's another character of a guy who wants to let me get this loaded. This guy wants to reboot GoldenEye 007 on the N64, and I believe there were some iterations like a Source mod and stuff like that. But this guy essentially, this is called GoldenEye 25. I don't know if this is the. Here we go. Sorry. There we go. This is just a little trailer of just of what the game in Silo would look like, and when you look at it, it looks really, really. How about I change the video? There we go. So this is GoldenEye 25, and this is a game that's, I believe it's just a development of a mod. It's on Twitter under 007 GoldenEye 25, and they're basically trying to have it done by the 25th anniversary of GoldenEye 64, which is in August 2022.
Oh, man. Jeez.
Now, when you look at it, now this is really, really earlier footage, but when you look at the textures and stuff like that, and you look at the health bars and stuff, you're like, okay.
So do they announce it now to like help them with funding or something, or they just wanted
this because if I was gonna make a bet, I'd bet that this guy is gonna be getting a cease and desist soon, but. You know what? Ooh, yeah. Even got the crosshair going, the shadows. I'm not sure what engine this is.
Didn't they say it was like the Unreal 4?
It looks like it might be the Unreal 4 engine. I don't think they say anywhere. I mean, it kind of looks like an Unreal 4 engine.
I think I read that it was the Unreal engine for sure.
But I mean, some of the shooting mechanics look a little. I mean.
You still have to aim the old way. It looks like it's like identical.
I mean, he doesn't even. He's holding an AK-47, one armed. There's no other hand there. So this is.
Yeah, you have to have it one.
I don't know if this is a Pierce Brosnan. This is more of a.
I think it's more
of a
him.
Timothy Dalton kind of 007.
Single AK.
You know, they're just one arm. You know, look at they all have the same death animation. So it's really, really early on, but yeah, look at these guys standing around. Gunfire is going, and they're staring straight at the screen. But anyway,
they don't even care. Oh, because those guys are scientists. Those are good boys.
Yeah, they are scientisting the shit out of that. But we don't notice nothing. That's how it was in the Soviet Union. Scientists would stare at the screen and not ever do anything wrong.
Please burn my retinas.
But there's even another one. We don't have to show it, but I saw a YouTube video for. Have you ever played the Jedi Outcast games?
Was that the fighting one?
So there was.
You could fight online against each other.
Well, there was one called Jedi Outcast, like Dark Forces, and then there was Jedi. No, I'm fucking this up. Jedi Outcast was a game that came out from Raven Software years ago. That was a really, really cool single-player game. They came out with a sequel called Jedi Outcast 2 Jedi Academy.
Oh, okay.
Which is the one where you could actually customize your character and go to the Jedi Academy and stuff like that.
Was that was an Xbox?
I believe that was an Xbox and PC game.
But it was an Xbox 360 or Xbox original?
I should do my homework before we do podcasts, but Outcast Academy. So anyway, Jedi Outcast Academy was really really cool because it had a I don't know, it probably was one of the most fun Jedi games, and it wasn't overcomplicated. It was pretty simple. I mean, the fighting was kind of hack and slash, and then somebody dies.
Yeah.
But it definitely was when it comes to like best Star Wars games of all time. I mean, it's definitely, it's not, I wouldn't put it near the top, but it's definitely one where that was super enjoyable. And also the story was, so Jedi Outcast, Kyle Katarn was a pretty cool expanded universe story element. He was a Jedi that was kicked out because he was too much of an anti-hero. That's badass. And then in the game, somehow he gets cut off from the Force, because when they kick somebody out of the Jedi Academy, they actually like do a Force mute on them or something like that.
What? Where they can take your Force?
Yeah, they can take it. So something happened, and eventually this guy, Luke grants him the ability to get access to the Force again.
Dang.
And no, it's a great game. But anyway, the Jedi Outcast. There was another videos I've been seeing, and one thing that has to be said, the demand for video games, for like older remastered video games, is kind of getting not a boiling point, but it's like you're starting to see remasters everywhere. Anyone that has the ability of modding something, or I'd love to play this game again on a newer engine or something like that, people are trying to go out and do it. But my advice to everybody, especially the GoldenEye mods, especially the Jedi Academy, okay, if you're messing around with anything Star Wars, you're not messing with LucasArts anymore. You're messing with Disney, which is a completely different player now. And I don't think they have.
They're not gonna like that.
Yeah, so release it and then let us know about it. Don't advertise it too much.
Counting your eggs before they hatch.
But absolutely, like that is absolutely a trend that I really enjoy and I like. I like more and more people randomly here and there come up with these little things, because it's indicative of the industry. Really, kind of everyone's kind of it's not more so of there's this industry creating stuff and then people consume it, but you're starting to see more and more active participation in that back and forth. You're seeing everywhere with technology now. More and more people are making music. More and more people are making films and stuff like that. You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
But seeing it in the video game realm,
YouTube teaches you anything.
Yeah, you can learn how to do anything. And when you look at a lot of the Unreal 4 engine tutorials, you can really learn on how to whip up something. I'll be honest. I am not a spectator in this remaster trend. I almost was a participant. I was really interested in, so the thing about modding a game, the reason why a lot of people like to go do it, is because it's a good pathway to learn all the parts of a video game. Like if you want to learn models, then you'll have to get 3ds Max or something like that, start to play around with those models, understand how the texture works and stuff like that. Okay, you want to work in texturing? Okay, maybe get Photoshop, maybe some other programs and stuff like that. And so I didn't get in the Unreal 4 engine, but I got on the Cry engine, and this is right when Crysis 2 and 3 got big.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this is great graphics. And so I found some people. I don't know how I don't know how I got into contact with them, but I met some guys from Brazil, a couple guys, and they wanted to get involved and create a Perfect Dark remake on the Cry engine.
Yeah.
And we were going to call it Project Dark. I built a website and stuff like that, and we were able to actually, I don't know how they were able to get the assets, but somehow I think they just ripped them from a ROM file in N64 or something like that. And we used that as a reference to basically rebuild the Carrington Institute. And you can see like a 32 by 32 square that's like a texture for like a brick or something like that, and then see that, and then in 3ds Max, this is a way that I was able to learn to, okay, I have a much higher quality brick texture, and then I would go in and replace it and stuff like that. And
piece by piece.
And we were able to create the Carrington. I think there might be some YouTube videos. You want to do that? Can I show you my?
Wow. All right. Yeah. Let's see it. Ooh, this is like going down a yearbook.
This is, oh yeah. So check this out. So what I did is I wanted to play around with the marble floors, and oh wait, here we go. Sorry. So this is the Carrington Institute, and this is a video from 2013. And so what I did is I just went in and I tried to build glass textures, and then I tried to build and then I was still kind of surprised with how the bump mapping works. And
you're like, it's so shiny.
I was just blown away with how the reflections work, because you could tweak settings to make the marble super shiny. But see how these textures aren't lining up? There is a lot of learning that you have to do to really get these sort of bricks to line up appropriately. I think I think I have another one where there's another cool. Yeah, I have a couple ones.
Sick YouTube plug, bro.
Thanks. Follow me, Logan Miles. So no, there were some ones where as I started adding furniture and stuff like that, and you could actually change the in the map maker. You could actually change the time. You could see how. What I loved about the CryEngine, how you could see how
humble brags.
Yeah, no, you could see how the ambient occlusion and the shadows of the tile changes color because of the reflection of the light off of the marble back onto the wall here.
Yeah.
I was just like, at the time, this is 2013. At the time, I remember walking around, and this is taxing out my system, but I was just so blown away with the textures, and I wanted to get, it took a couple months, and I think this is probably one of the beginnings. I put so much time into it. I think I lost a relationship. But no, it was
you gotta sacrifice for your art.
No, for other people who was like, man, I really wanted to take GoldenEye, take those assets, and kind of remake it. It's kind of a like a buried treasure list, I guess. I mean, it's you have all the tools, but you just have to learn how to put them together, and that multiplied by 300 or 500 very skilled people creates a very, very well polished game.
Holy moly.
So one guy or two people, that's really, really hard. But if you like making one level, like I was able to remake the temple level in GoldenEye, and I tried to put it on huge, I actually made it really dark where there were these fires to where you actually couldn't see. It was more of a stealth map, because when you think about it, the only light in the room is the little fires in the corners of the room in the temple map. It was much more realistic, and I tried to do some things to get more light in the room by breaking some blocks on the top and letting light come in. And there's a lot of different, it was like drinking from a fire hose. You think it's going to be super simple. You're just going to put the asset in and then render and then done. And you're like, whoa, you have to.
I wouldn't know where to begin. I'd be like, can I just scan this thing I drew? Can I just scan it?
You definitely do come to a point where you really appreciate all the different gears that go into, and this is one person trying to do everything, but there's normally a job for everybody from texturing to rendering, not to rendering, to modeling to.
Same with movies and shit.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. We just have a tendency of kind of maybe oversimplifying things sometimes, but anyway. Moving into, I want to get this video queued up. Getting into the game topic of the day. Did you want to move right into that, or did you have anything else?
No, that's
so. Good. I've recently been playing a game called A Plague Tale: Innocence. And this was a pretty surreal kind of game, because when I walked into it, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I literally, so the way I buy games now on Steam is I will hear a game's decent, and then I'll go to Steam and I'll look at the ratings, very positive, mixed or something like that. And if it's mixed, I'm like, I put a lot of weight into those reviews, and that's probably the main driving force in what I purchase and whatnot. I mean, if a game gets review bombed and stuff, I try to also be aware of those things. But I actually got into Plague Tale because I think you mentioned it a couple months ago.
Yeah, I was looking through the sales, and I was looking for something that had like more story rich, you know. And I watched the trailer and it looked badass. So
you mentioned the game to me, and I was like, huh? And I saw it, and I didn't look at the trailer. I think I may have looked at a couple screenshots. I just saw that it was a single player story, and I was like, you know what? I want something to I wanted to go in blind. Okay.
Yeah.
So I go in blind to this game, and first off, this game is beautiful. The beginning of the game starts out, you're in the French forest, you're playing with your little brother, and your father's there, and as you're walking through the forest. I mean, I've played Crysis 1, 2, 3. I've seen some really good nature effects, but this game was really. I was surprised with, like, okay, this isn't a game I've heard of at all, and I don't actually think I've seen advertisements for this game at all. But immediately, really surprised with the video. It maxed out my PC, and I could have even turned up the settings even more.
Wow.
Because of how, I guess, the renderer resolution can be adjusted in the options. And so when I played it on my game stream, and you quickly learn. And I'm gonna just put up some game footage of it.
Yeah, that's what caught my eye.
So this right here, there we go. So yeah, this. So this is a level that's like maybe an hour into the game or so. The total game took me about 11 hours, but I didn't exactly race through it. I really kind of took my time, and I'm not playing any audio. I'm just kind of giving. I don't know. When we do a podcast, some people are going to listen to it, but then some people are going to watch the video. So it's like, should I describe? There is a woman running with a small child on the screen. I don't know how descriptive should I be. Or should I be like, you know what? If you're driving and you're listening to this, sucks to be you, man. Watch us on YouTube where we can get money for that.
Come back to this bookmark, this spot. Please turn to page 76.
But so this game starts out. You're a French teenage girl, and the Inquisition happens, and immediately, like, your parents are killed and stuff like that, and you have to escape. And the game is heavily based on stealth. The game is, there are guys walking. You walk behind them. It's almost a little overly simple. And if I was gonna fault the game, I would say that the game does, like, I don't mind having dumb AI. Like Metal Gear Solid 5 had okay AI, but sometimes they were really stupid. You could really expose some of the stupid logic that they did.
I think that's like part of the game. Like, back to like the first one and stuff.
I don't need genius AI. I don't need AI that's perfect. But I also, like, if I walk in front of a guy, I would assume the guy would notice me,
Yeah.
But I still, my suspension of disbelief when I go into a video game, I really kind of try to be fine with those things and stuff like that. But one thing I noticed is that there was some times where it's like, also going into this game not knowing what the game was going to be like, I thought, is this a 4-hour game? Is this a 10-hour game? I have no idea, and
what to expect.
And the first hour was a little slow. It wasn't until you get to maybe 20 minutes before this specific scene. Now, this is a pretty cool part because this is a huge battle. This was an entire battle, and there's thousands of bodies. Speaking of,
that's crazy.
Another thing about this game that is maybe a warning, it is very graphic. They're like, for example, she's going to be walking through a battlefield, and like see, now notice right here, she's walking over the bodies, and they put animations in, and the little boy is like, are they sleeping or are they dying? The game is very much it's not exploitive, but it's much like puts you in the scene.
It feels like very immersive.
I don't know if this is even getting audio. But basically, this sequence is they have to get to this other town, and as they're crossing this,
the game is beautiful, man.
Beautiful game. But
crazy.
But the crazy, so I didn't even understand what the main kind of not gimmick. It's not really gimmick, but the main sort of mechanic in this game.
There you go.
And the mechanic in this game, which blew my mind. Once I saw what it was, I was like, I'm all in, man. I hope they got that knuckle crack on the audio. But I was
that
was
an impressive crack, by the way.
So I'm gonna skip ahead in this video. And so what happens is actually you'll see it right now. Look at all these rats.
Shoot. Rats coming out of
so
a
the
horse?
game specifically has I think this is right around the time of the Black Plague as well. So there's a lot of people will be getting sick from a disease and stuff, and there's thousands of rats. Sometimes like a town would get taken over by an infestation of thousands of rats.
That all have the plague?
And so I don't know if they have the plague, but there's enough of them that if you run through them, they'll eat you alive.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
so this game,
even worse.
There are times like that's a big pushing point for the game, is that the game will have moments where there's seas of rats that you have to somehow navigate through. And this is where a lot of the puzzles start to kind of show up in the game. Like, for example, the rats in this case are scared of fire. So you have a slingshot and you started a fire right there. And you notice, look at all these rats. There's I think they said up to 6,000 individual rats can be displayed on screen. And you notice all these rats are attracted to you, but they're afraid of the light. So you have to go through and navigate and start fires. And the certain fire will scare the rats away. See that? Now here's the thing: if you walk through a crowd of rats, you will get they'll just overcome you,
shred you,
and
you'll look like the end of a Mortal Kombat fatality.
And seeing someone get overtaken by a sea of rats is something I didn't expect to see in my lifetime. But this game, like, and there are some times in this game where, like, for example, you'll eventually watch out. Holy mackerel! There eventually are times in this game where you encounter knights and a lot of like just bad characters, and sometimes you'll utilize the rats against them. Like if there's a knight carrying,
like trap them, like set up a trap.
If there's a guy carrying a torch, you can throw a slingshot, knock out and then the rats will all attack him and stuff. And it's pretty graphic when it happens, but it also is like, it feels weird. It's like, why did they really turn what am I trying to say? It's surprising that they were able to take an entire mechanic out of this kind of obscure sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so there's a huge like, as you see right now, this whole puzzle element of trying to move fire around and stuff. This is a very, very big part of the game, and I really enjoyed it. But the puzzles really weren't hard.
It seems like it's kind of on the nose.
It spoon feeds you. I don't think there was ever really a time where I was
go with the controller and the camera just scrolls up to where you're supposed to go.
Yeah. It pretty much kind of like where the Outer Wilds doesn't tell you what to do. This game will tell you in the top right, walk here or escape here or do that or something like that.
Yeah. That was gonna be my question, if they got any harder.
But notice right now, so she has a stick that she caught on fire, and she's navigating, and also just walking around with a torch, seeing how the rats dynamically will try to attack, and then they'll scatter and stuff. And so that's a time limit sort of torch. And so that whole mechanic, now see this guy, now they're hiding in the bushes, and this guy's coming over the hill. Now there is combat in this game, not only with stealth. Now you can definitely tell that combat takes a back seat. This game is a stealth game first, and almost in a way to where, like, you notice she's gonna just take out this, and then
and the rats just eat them. And that buys you enough time to get away.
And they just distract the rats so you can go through even though there's no light there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm surprised because like when I played this level, I thought that there were a lot more rats. I don't know if this is a alpha or but like when I played this level,
it does say work in progress.
Yeah,
at the top
I was
left.
overwhelmed with the amount of rats and stuff. So another thing about this game that you'll see that's really, really cool is how the game you'll notice, like, as this main character will run around, she'll grab her little brother's hand. There are certain elements, like, if I'm going to rewind this footage back to the kind of the beginning, where you see this little boy running around, and, you know, it's pretty lifelike with how kind of he interacts with her. But occasionally there are these moments when it starts to get a little hairy, where he will walk up and he'll hold her hand and he'll just follow her around and stuff like that. And it
makes it more in the moment, makes it more like,
not just that, but like notice right here, he just walked up, took her hand, and it's seamless. Like there was no buttons pressed. Like it's very like Uncharted, where there are sometimes animations will happen naturally and the player won't be kind of
it's very seamless.
Yeah, it's very, very seamless. I thought that was really, really cool with the game. There are moments, the voice acting. Now, see right here. So so you have this other guy with you, and now because you have the fire, and you're walking through, he naturally will stay behind you when you're going to be walking through a scary area. There's subtle things like that where the game
really just elevates,
gloss the game. Yeah. It's some nice shine. And I really, really like that element to it. There is some voice acting from the girl and the little boy is pretty cool. I mean, there are sometimes you were like, sometimes I get sick of the little kid, but that happens all the time.
Yeah, that would be
any little kid.
Yeah, they all suck.
But like the game is pretty smooth with how some things do. Like, for example, now that they lit that, now this other boy's like, okay, I'm gonna go do this, and then this is just another puzzle to solve. And so the voice acting is okay. It's not perfect, but my God, when you get to the end of the game, you aren't really like the game really kind of starts to open up and goes, what the fuck? Like it really opens up and goes a little nuts.
Really? How much nuttier can you get from this?
Like, so, okay, see right here in this certain her belt, when she opens up, you see there's a rock, a flame, and there's all these other things. Eventually you start to get more tools on your belt where you can, like, you know, throw something that attracts rats and stuff like that. So
okay, so you're just saying, like, the stuff you can do.
Yeah, the stuff you can do changes and becomes more dynamic.
Okay, I thought you meant the story.
But also the story, I would say, it doesn't. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the story does get pretty okay. Just like, okay, you're in this. Imagine what the boss battle for the final game is. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool boss battle.
Okay.
But and the way that it incorporates all of these different sort of elements of the rats, of the different tools and stuff like that, I thought was pretty cool. So
and still, like, remains super cinematic and beautiful.
Very cinematic.
And just like,
yeah, that's might be one of my favorite things about the game is how. And that's why I loved Uncharted games and a lot of those. And The Last of Us is just how
very
the
story-rich games
is just immersive, super story-rich. And I mean, there are some elements in here where you walk through mud, and that changes the dynamic. And then, like, there's a lot of climbing and moving. And I mean, there's some like Zelda puzzles and stuff, but
overall,
I think
relatively
it's
easy. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10 in strength. What'd you give it?
You know what? There was a difficulty cliff because in the beginning of the game, there was some moments where I'm like, you don't know. You know how games, when they want to be a tutorial, they really say, you know, they're really spoon feeding you.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the game, it was heavy enough to where I kind of was like, okay, I kind of lost interest. And then after I beat the Outer Wilds, then I went back to A Plague Tale and finished it. And then I kind of pushed through that first, like, 30 minutes or so, and I really
then it became rewarding.
I really like this game. I mean, it's definitely not perfect. It's got its flaws, and even though the game starts out a little kind of like slow, there was a moment where, like, I get to this one, like, area or this level where I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to do this? Like, it was
so there was a couple challenging
there was a point where I think right when you start to get to near the end game, it kind of jumps up a cliff, and you're like, whoa! But I forget what kind of difficulty.
So now that you're bringing it back up, okay, I was about to say, you don't remember. You don't
what
remember?
Do you mean?
What out of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
Difficulty. As a difficulty? Maybe like a 2 or 3. I mean, it's definitely, story is
So there wasn't even that difficult then.
Well, and also like when you die or something like that, you know, it has autosaves at kind of every moment, so you know, you don't really overextend yourself. Yeah, I don't think it was too difficult, but like I'm not really, as far as rating the entire game,
on difficulty, not the entire game, or unless you want to.
No, I mean, or just overall rating it. Like I'm not a big like quantitative rating system. More of like is this worth a play or not?
Like,
and
it feels very Moon.
Like look at this. Look at all these rats coming out. I mean, this is, and every one of these rats are rendered individually. And they react and respond. And look at this guy. This guy's stuck here, and he's caught. And then you're pushing the rats up to him, and they take him out.
Damn.
Yeah. So yeah, there are times where you're like, let's kill this guy with a mob of rats. And there was a time where you're like, to distract the rats, you have to like open up a pig pen, and they go to town. You're like, wow. I mean, it's
you make it eat pigs.
Well, no, you have to survive. But man, I definitely would say if you're a lover of farm animals, beware for sure.
Yeah. Oh man. Plague's Tale. A Plague's Tale. A Plague Tale. I keep saying plagues, like A Bug's Life.
Yeah.
Or something. A Plague's Tale. Disney movie coming out of here.
I'll have to admit, the name, I don't know about that name, dude.
It sounds very like a drama. A Plague Tale. You know?
We lost our video.
We did?
It just crashed on us.
No.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We're not going to have a video, unfortunately, for this episode. I mean, we could have audio, but it'll be on YouTube.
Oh, man.
Why the fuck did it do that?
So sad.
Yeah. But anyway, we're keeping it going.
All right.
So, anyway, to close out
most of this podcast
was
is video.
All video, dude. All video.
Listen to it, and then you're going to be like, damn. I sound like video.
No, I think we got some of the video here.
I make it very vivid.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think we got some of the video.
That's cool.
I think we've learned our lesson on Stream OBS for sure. Streamlabs OBS. That is a definitely not going to be our stream application of choice.
I have no say in this.
Yeah.
So don't hate me.
But anyway, to close out A Plague Tale, the game was released in May. Let's see how much this game costs. So right now on Steam, it is $44.99.
Was that on sale?
Wow.
Or is that
no?
normal?
That is the default cost.
Yeah.
Is it worth it for $44.99? So
is that what you bought it for?
I think
Baller.
So. I may have bought it for. Yeah. See, some of these graphics in here.
Oh, that's insane.
Are just beautiful. Like.
Want to live there.
In levels of the past, you should be able to see like where partitions were, and you can see corners and stuff that were like, you can see that's made. But you know, especially with texturing, with ground textures, with leaves, with like random rocks, and I'm just getting blown away by how graphics are looking now, especially in like nature scenes.
How good, yeah.
There also is a photo mode in A Plague Tale. I've not really been crazy about this. It's a photo mode, but if you are interested, you can go in and take full photos and pause the game and move it around and sharpen it and stuff like that.
Are you kidding me?
If you wanted to.
Are you serious?
To. Yeah, no. I don't know. I'm definitely I mean, it's like $44 screenshot
gallery?
machine. But is $44 worth it? There is a whole coat of arms DLC. Is that just different clothes, or is that a 3 alternative outfits? Oh, great. Okay.
It's only $2. Might as well.
But so
might as well run from these rats in style, you know?
I put 11 hours into the game.
And you beat it.
And I beat it. I enjoyed it. Now, replayability, probably won't be playing through again. Probably won't. It's there really isn't any replay value to it. I mean, unless you want to listen to the story. I mean, there. You know what? Now that I'm seeing this trailer again, and there's some scenes. The game gets wild in some areas, and I think that for me, paying $44, I was very, very happy with it as a purchase. 11 hours divided by $45. What is that?
It's $11 trillion.
So that's like $4 an hour.
Oh, I mean, yeah, $4 an hour.
Yeah, that's like $40 an hour. $4.
4.25.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's $4 an hour, $44, $11. $4 an hour.
I like mine. 100 trillion.
That's a pretty 100. Now I don't understand why they have this. They have a random trailer where Sean Bean in the dark is talking to the camera. If you go on Steam, like literally, they're just like, we need to get somebody famous. I think it was worth it for me. I mean, $4 an hour. That's for some people. That's like wait till it's a $19.99 kind of a thing. But
oh yeah, I would wait for summer sale.
I mean, there's no multiplayer. I thought it was a really cool story. I mean, when you think about it, me and my girlfriend, we went to a movie theater and we ended up spending like $35 to see a movie.
That's
and
true.
Stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think it was a pretty good purchase. But in terms of what I'm gonna play next, I don't know, man. You got any ideas?
I kind of want to play Little Nightmares.
Little Nightmares.
Little Nightmares, yeah. It's like a little
Nightmares?
platformer. I've been wanting to play it for a while. It's been sitting.
Yeah.
It's been sitting in my Steam library.
April 27th, 2017. You're a patient gamer, dude.
Am I?
Patient gamer. You're patient to play these games.
I probably had it from that year. I just never
is this,
played it.
What is this? This is a dark, whimsical tale confront childhood fears. Childhood fears. Walking around school naked.
Damn, you see that? The art style is so cool.
Oh yeah, the art style.
The lighting's
cool.
Amazing.
Oh wow, yeah. And there's two of them.
Oh, I guess I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll probably check this out, especially for $19. Oh wow, that's what the gameplay actually looks like. That's great.
And that's how good it looks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrific. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'll probably buy this right after this podcast or something like that.
Dang. Yeah, I like atmospheric games.
Yeah, I likewise.
I like getting that feel, that creep factor.
Another game I just finished was Inside. Have you ever played that?
Oh, I have it. I haven't played it. I need to play it.
You can beat it probably in 4 hours, 5 hours.
That's from the creators of Limbo?
Limbo, yeah.
Okay.
And it's in that game. That game doesn't tell you what to do ever.
Limbo
but you just,
or
Inside. But you just you have two buttons: jump, grab, and you just eventually learn
all the tips and tricks.
And what I love is that it's a side scroller, but yet it's the side scroller is a way that it's kind of still seemed like a chronological story, even though it is. It's weird with how it's a 3D game, but the way that the game is told in a 2D format is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the ending.
That seems awesome.
In terms of games that go, what the fuck, that game might have the most what the fuck ending I have ever played.
So that was your game of choice for turning 30? You stayed in?
Yeah,
and played,
I did. I played Inside, and that game. That game is a great analogy for turning 30. That absolutely, because right when the ending hits, you're like, oh, so this is what it feels like to be 30.
30.
So if you want to get that joke, you gotta play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
I
can't wait.
No, seriously, like I don't want to play it again because like you kind of know, but the first experience of going through and like figuring out, well, I'm gonna do this or do that here, is really, really cool. And in fact, I would love to go back and play the ending just to kind of, because you get some new abilities in a way, and there are some moments that are a little cinematic where you do something and you're like, oh, that was really, really cool. Cool is a subjective word.
Rad.
Some people would actually say fucked up, but I think it was cool.
I can't wait. I can't wait to check it out.
Anyway, we're at like 48 minutes right now.
You feeling a shorty?
Yeah, I think we're feeling a shorty this week.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we got a little
more time
short
for
chody episode.
Yeah. Until next week, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that video doesn't fuck up again.
Aw. I mean, let's make sure. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Catch us next week with a guest.